Scott, a first-year rookie, by the way. Good mark taken by my boy, Stevie Pitt, the Tea Tree Gully kid. Deep into the pocket, looking for Ducker. From behind, Hocking did well. It ricochets back to Ducker. Around the corner he goes. It's swinging back, but not far enough. It's a point. The Redlegs 8 goals 10. Glenelg 7-5. We're 23.5 minutes into the third term.
Great shot at goal by Mark Ducker. Hasn't done a lot, but that one would have been so important. But any score at this stage is vital.
Rouvray thumps it towards halfback. The ball will carry. Eames needed to keep it in front and tried to do so, and in the end was effective. Kretschmer has a loose player in here. He puts it into the path, but as he put it too wide, he has. Well, how many times have we seen that today? The ball go out of bounds on the full. It's extraordinary.
Can't understand them playing that wide, you know.
Certainly not. Kelly to Eames. That ball holding up into the breeze once again. McCulley judges it the best. Takes it on the chest. Lifts the eyes, comes across in towards the centre of the ground. Mansell, now we haven't seen hide nor hair of him in this third term. Looks to be languishing through half forward, David, and that's a surprise because he really does set up some good players.
Well, I don't think we've seen hide nor hair of young Mansell at all today. He hasn't
had 10 odd kicks, fellas. I think you're being a bit tough.
They've got to be constructive, surely.
Yes, but he's done a lot of bullocking work, a bit like Chris McDermott does for the Crows. I wouldn't underestimate Mansell. I like his style and the little things he does. This boy's killing them. McGuinness, 20 kicks, 4 handballs. Not a bad day's work. West needed to work hard. He did so. Got it off to Barton. Barton was claimed by Modra. Modra's played a beauty at centre half back. We talk about good players, and Modra has completely beaten West.
And indicative of Norwood's desperation as Modra put the perfect tackle on, but it was just sheer determination and continual running to get to the player.
Very lucky Michael Barton not to go for holding the ball. He had every chance to get rid of it. Now Kretschmer. He's had a wonderful battle with Eames on centre wing. Simon Hill's also been very effective. Lifts the eyes, chips short, and finds Mansell. As David Mackay suggested, his 11th kick, so he has had a few, but they haven't been very often in this third term. Balm from the pack situation. Gibbs reads it the best. He'd love to nail this one from outside 50. Fires at the goals, and it's got it. The veteran in game number 250 to the delight of the crowd. Picks up his first for the game. The Tigers get their 8th. It's 5 points the difference.
It's only his 4th goal.
Josh running on sheer courage at the moment. He certainly hasn't got the pace to go with a lot of these Glenelg players. And grabbed the ankle just a short time ago. So for Norwood's stake, one can only hope that he can get through this game.
Dean Bailey hasn't been more than half a metre away at any time on McIntosh today. It's been a truly great tagging job. Rowe will need to shovel it forward. He did so successfully. Off the ground was McRae, into the run of Marshall. Around the corner, Marshall to space also. Who can cut it off at the pass? Stewart playing it half forward, did well. Burns provides a presence. A little bit of pressure. Barton, Burns and McCulley and Hamish Stewart. And Hamilton comes off.
Well, 10 out of 10 for courage there and desperation by Scott Burns. He had to beat 2 players. The move made by Glenelg coach Mark Williams as Hamilton comes off.
Well, it was never going to work Hamilton on a wing picking up Stephen
No,
Pitt.
certainly didn't have the pace at all, David. That's the bottom line of it.
Good coaching by Neil Craig to put Pitt onto a wing.
Pitt is a very talented player, and if he can get him against a player that just doesn't have the pace to go with him, at least his player's going to have an obvious advantage.
I wonder if it was a result of the last goal that was kicked by Pitt. Now West looks to work his way through. James has been dynamic. Gets it out to Stephen Rowe. The Redlegs are running very well to the centre of the ground. The target is smart. He's played well. Hands it off to McIntosh. Watch him go on a direct line. This time he doubles back, gets onto the right leg, but the kick is still superb. Ducker dropped what he should have taken, paddles it to himself. If Hocking has any sense, he'll run it to the line. Instead, he loses feet. Rouvray now with a chance to run it over. And O'Brien, in fact, does the job for them in the end.
Do you think perhaps Ducker not, we'll put it this way, favouring a leak? Perhaps he just doesn't seem to have that agility.
Very perceptive, Nipper. I don't think he should have played in the last 3 or 4 weeks, but it is finals time. You just about play with a broken leg when that happens.
But you're no good to the side if you're not 100%, are you, David?
He was all right last week. Bailey gets it off to Bowe. He's upended by McIntosh. This is Pitt going forward. Prime's there, the big man, just short. Burns will need to work hard at it. Rouvray did. Shrugs the tackle on the left boot. It's a high ball to midfield. Crashing through. Thompson did well. Pitt there. Also Kretschmer. Kretschmer pulled off the ball. He was shirt-fronted by McIntosh. Now Brett James got through traffic. Almost got away a handball. This is smart. Ross Gibbs, and Ross has done it pretty well in the finish.
Well done.
Great shepherd Lyndon Bowe behind play on Brett James.
Oh, it was tremendous work. Don't know that Ross got it all the way down to the ground, but he tried in terms of the bounce. Well done, Stewart. Plays on, he has Marshall on the inside, elects to go towards Fidge. Fidge uses the body, now has a chance. 10 metres out and closing, and has nailed it. Fidge gets his third, the game's alive.
And a great bit of defensive work by the Tigers on the half-back line. Brett James taken out with a magnificent hip and shoulder. They set it up, and Fidge again with body work, 30 metres out, and the big fella delighted to run into the open goal, nails it for the Tigers, and they're back in the hunt.
There's Mark Williams. His side trails by 7 points, but they're coming home thanks to that goal by John Fidge. 3 goals, 1 his tally this afternoon. 7 points the margin. Thompson tried to crash it and missed it. Barton through without the ball. Heel had an airy. It's tight out there.
It is tight, all right. Which one of these Tigers is going to put his hand up and say, I'll win the game for us, I'll get us back?
Well, it's a typical first semi-final. No second chances this afternoon. Midway through this final term, there's just 7 points the difference.
14 minutes into the last term. The game hangs in the balance. It has all day. Marshall leads in the race for the ball. Gee, I've been impressed with Richard Kelly at half-back, and he's won a free kick.
He's versatile. He's a good midfielder. He's a good ruck rover. Now he's proved he can play at half-back.
And in game number 50 for him, thumps it towards half-forward. It travels over the head of all attacking players. Working back there are the Tigers. Heel is the one who ends up with it. Hasn't he played well in the second half? Towards half-forward he goes. The order of the day is to keep feet. In the end, Jonathan Rodrin gets a quick kick away. Players closing from everywhere. Well done, David Burns. Held his ground. Macca comes charging through. Patterson, the quick kick. Where's Ducker? Over his head. Hocking thumps it to the line. I don't know who's going to get there first, but Clayton Lamb certainly looks to be in some trouble. The pickup is very good from Smart. But
well,
at the
under
end,
pressure,
the kick goes over the line.
and the Breeze did the rest. Straight into the air. Forced to kick hurriedly with the left foot. Couldn't keep the ball low, and consequently, these strong windy conditions of Football Park carried it to the line, and Glenelg out of danger.
The Lamb kick sits into the Breeze. Everybody misjudged it, and across the line for a throw. And we've had 15 minutes of the final term. Norwood 9-12, Glenelg 9-5. The margin 7 points.
Noticeable that the legs are starting to get a little bit tired. The pace has gone out of the game. It'll be a run to the wire on sheer courage.
Must be a Port Adelaide supporter doing the knitting down there, I would think. You wouldn't dare take your eyes off it if you're a Glenelg or Norwood fan.
Yes, there hasn't been much in it all year. I think in the 20 games they've played, Glenelg have won 12 and drawn 1. Norwood won 12 and lost 8. So there's not much in it throughout the season.
Hocking, inside half-back. Made a couple of terrible mistakes, but that mark was very, very good. Modra overruns the ball. McGuinness now with a chance. Claimed well. The defensive action of Norwood has been very good.
Kicking in danger, gee, you don't see them too often.
That's the first one this afternoon, and there's been several opportunities for a similar decision to be paid. Several of those have been let go. What a crucial one.
Tanner now in towards centre half forward. He goes. O'Brien leads in the race for the ball. He needs it one clean take, and he needs it quickly because there's plenty of Glenelg players there. The whistle went to the mouth with Richard Williams for holding the ball, but in the end called play on. Well done, Stephen Rowe. James with a chance to make it very hard, but he's offline, way offline, and out of bounds on the full.
And hasn't Patterson lifted his work rate in this final term? He's been everywhere for Norwood.
Neil Craig intently watches on. Could the kick have gone short from James to prime on the lead? Well, he was certainly within range, but off balance perhaps. Rouvray with a long kick. It sits up. West sits underneath it. From behind, Modra was there. Ricochets out to Bowe. Around the corner goes Heel. A high ball. Courage required here, and Bailey's got it. He stood underneath it with McIntosh and Tanner closing. Burns crashing through, did well. Around the corner he goes. Ducker! What a great mark! A crucial mark, a vital mark. It was one that had to be taken.
He's only taken 2 for the afternoon, but what a sensational reflex mark by Mark Ducker. 40 metres out, directly in front, and the opportunity to just about seal the goal and the first semi-final for the Redlegs.
Well, it's not over yet, Nipper. There's plenty of time left. Even if he does kick it, it's gone right, by the way.
there is now.
Still plenty of time. Norwood 9-13, 67. Lead Glenelg 9-5, 59.
Gee, if I would hard to in the opposition side and see a player kicking with the breeze put you about 14 points in front. But he's missed it, and what a vital kick it was.
Look at the fingernail biting that's going on down there. That's a Red League fan.
18 minutes into the last term. The game still hangs in the balance, but the Tigers will need to do a little more at the moment. Patterson gets a soft free kick, and from half forward will thump it in towards the head of the square.
Just about had his head taken off.
Looks for some space. Pitt. The unusual thing is that at this stage of the game, umpires will usually let it go. It goes over the head of all players now and into the path of Mark Ducker. You'll need to be pretty good from there. Drags it back.
Hit the post.
And unbelievably hits the post. Gee, he got it back a long way.
Tremendous attempt by Mark Ducker to get that goal. He played it all the way to the boundary line. He didn't have any support there, and running under some pace to get even boot the ball was admirable.
West to half-back he goes. Glenelg needs some run, and they need it very, very quickly. McGuinness needs the reflex, can't get it out. Kretschmann now with just an ounce of time. Pushes it towards the path of Gibbs, but it's a little too wide. The protection is provided by Rouvray, does very well. Ross Gibbs, casual as always, but Rouvray can't control it.
Just seemed to sense that Norwood doing enough at the moment to hang on in this game. Crowd warming to the last minutes of this first semi-final, and a big effort needed by the Tigers.
We've hit 19 minutes. There can only be perhaps 10 minutes left for one side this year. McGuinness kicks forward. McCulley off the ground. Rowe was at the bottom of the pack, and Mansell dived in on top of him, but no free kick.
One goal kicked by either side so far in the final term, so as you said, David, there won't be a lot of time on.
Stephen Rowe, reasonably quiet today. Umpire Westgarth tosses it in the air, still a little soft underfoot, but the ground is in perfect condition. McRae feigns and does well. Gets a quick kick forward. David Marshall, can he weave a little bit of magic? Not going to take the mark this time.
Awkward one to pick up there, but the umpire in the perfect position to see the ball touch ground first.
Another toss-up. McCulley, one of his quieter days. Mansell, was he legged? No. Need to dispatch it from under there.
Now look at this. Norwood have just got numbers around the fall of the ball. They're holding it in. They're playing the boundary line. This is something that they couldn't do mid-year. Do you remember? I think it was against the Eagles, where they had the game won and the Eagles came over the top of them. And all they had to do was just play the boundary line. They could have won.
At Norwood Oval it was. Barton, McRae, he has electric pace. Couldn't get away, though, from Stephen Rowe. The pressure was very good. Marshall keeps it inside. Modra needs to get down to it. Can't do it. Fidge's body work is tremendous and runs it over the line.
What a hip and shoulder. Put him right out of action. Fidge not happy. I wonder what he's
Not
saying to the
happy.
umpire.
Crikey.
One would say irate.
It's more than not happy. He was great last week against Port, by the way, and he's been pretty solid today, but the delivery has been ordinary. Bailey, out it goes to Mansell. Mansell short. Toombs just thumped it away. The target was Fidge, by the way. Toombs has done a pretty good job there today. McIntosh, look at him. They rise as one Norwood fans when Macca gets the ball. He goes long to Smart, off the wet grass, and out of play at half forward.
Well, was that the opportunity, Mark Williams, coach of Glenelg, feels an opportunity there to really hit back, is gone. And Norwood from defence into the forward pocket in the twinkling of an eye.
Tricky, you were talking about the players that Mark Williams left out of this side.
Well, it's too late now, of course. They're left with what they've got. 18 out there on the deck to do the job, but they have so much depth. You wonder what effect it will have on those players not being selected in this side after Glenelg got thumped last week. Irrelevant to some extent because their ability to stay alive rests on the next 10 minutes. McIntosh on screen.
If they go down today, they'll have lost their two finals this year. They played off in the grand final last year, and Kim Hodgman couldn't hold the coaching job. Now, I'm not saying for 1 second that Mark Williams is under any pressure. He has proved to be a very good coach, in my view, this year.
But was it coaching ability or a difference of opinion that perhaps cost Kim Hodgman his job?
Either way, he's not there, Nipper. But Glenelg are used to winning. Ross Gibbs, Burns to McIntosh. Mac has been special. Look at that boundary line. He just finds it every time.
Well, they'll be struggling to win this one now. It's Norwood by 9 points.
They need 2 goals, the Tigers.
That's the telling factor of it. 22 minutes gone, and Norwood hold the slender advantage, and for mine, they hold the aces.
Here now is Tanner. working very strongly into the forward line, gets it up, and Pitt, has he taken it? No, the umpire said play on. I can't believe it.
Well, Norwood fans rise to their feet expecting for the mark to be paid, but no way.
Was it a mark nipper?
Well, let's have a closer look at it. No.
2 bites of the cherry. And it's a bounce, 15 metres out from the Norwood goals. A goal here would just about seal their fate. They could go on to next week's preliminary final. Rowe at the bottom of the pack, Ducker around the corner. Ducker snaps. And he misses. 1 goal, 4. Have a look at Ducker.
Could have been the hero at the Norwood parade this afternoon, Mark Ducker, but he's been unable to notch 2 very important shots at goal and leave Glenelg with just a slim hope.
Jim West has gone to full-back. Rouvray to centre-half forward. Coach Mark Williams obviously looking for some more run. Burns is in over it. And the Tigers really need a lift, and they need it very quickly. A very tense and pensive Neil Craig. He can sense that the Redlegs have got this, but it's going to take 5 more minutes of very hard work. McRae. Oh, the umpire said he's thrown it.
Oh, I don't think so.
No, it didn't look like it. What we think counts for nothing, because Grant Tanner is going to give the Redlegs a chance to thump it back in. From 80 metres out, pushes it deep into the pocket in what could only be described as a somewhat defensive kick.
Oh, I think they're playing the right tactics. Don't worry about that.
15 scoring shots to Norwood in the second, or since the half-time, and only 2 as far as Glenelg are concerned.
Mrs. Craig Barham
certainly puts the odds against them.
Intently looking on. Pretty important night for her if the Redlegs can get up. Rowe just inside the boundary line. Now that was a throw. He just paddled it back to himself. Now he gives it off to Ross Gibbs. Gibbs goes forward and Barton couldn't keep the ball in play. Have they got time? We're 24.5 minutes in and Glenelg trail now by 10 points.
Nothing's impossible, but they will need to do it very, very smartly. Right on the doorstep of time on, and this the last term. Could it be that the Tigers will be fired out in 2? Certainly not what their fans would want, as O'Brien comes streaming through half forward, gets the left leg away, but the time that they're wasting is very valuable. Out of bounds on the full. West to give Glenelg a chance back into play.
All right, fellas, we're into time on. Glenelg need 2 goals. They've been pretty good this year. Can they get the couple they require in time on? There won't be much time on at all. In fact, there's only been 2 goals kicked by either side. 1 goal apiece. Thompson into space. Tanner handballed it away. Clayton Lamb playing at centre-half back has done a pretty good job. He handballs it off to Mansell. Mansell's wrapped up beautifully by Patterson and goes to ground.
Can't win it on your own. Need to share the ball quickly and find some space. That tackle from Patterson was very, very good. McCulley over the top. Nothing working for Glenelg. It falls into the arms of Robinson. Around the body quickly and again defensively towards the forward pocket. West works back. They need to go to the centre of the ground and do it very quickly down the corridor. Heel has had a very, very classy second half. Gets thrown off of the ball. Barton is in there. Burns. Patterson paddles it forward and over the line.
Mark Williams would be urging his side on. There's only moments to go. They trail by 10 points. They need 2 goals. And look at the tension.
I think he'd love to be out there. Really give them a stirring up if he was out there, but Patterson again to the line. I think Norwood have got it. A minute into time on. And Glenelg needing 2 scoring shots. Just about impossible.
Look at them. Almost resigned now that time is running out. Hamilton sits on the bench. Steve Bickler, the assistant coach, beside him. Glenelg Brains Trust will need to work it out over the summer. They've had a terrific squad this year. At times I've been critical of them for their lack of pace in attack, but they really have been a very good side throughout the year. Let's be fair.
26.5 minutes gone, and again in the scoreboard pocket, which shows Norwood 9-15 and Glenelg 9-5. It runs over the line.
Now Norwood, 2 for 1 against Port Adelaide. Could face Port in the preliminary final. What we're looking at now is 3 teams left in the race for the flag.
Norwood have done remarkably well. They've finished 7th in the last 2 years. Neil Craig in his 3rd year, they're going to finish no worse than 3rd as Gibbs sweeps around and takes it boundary side. They need to be more direct. Burns reads it pretty well. The tackle is good. Holding the ball is a decision. 27 minutes in. And if anything's going to happen, it has to happen now. Marshall. Oh, McGuinness took his eyes off the ball, took a bounce, and it didn't come back to him, straight into Richard Kelly. So they're trying to take some chances, but it just isn't working. Far side, McGuinness's claim. Norwood have just about got this. McIntosh runs it to the line, keeps it inside. He has great awareness and then puts it to the line.
He's done that 5 times this term, by the way. Gathered the ball and just kicked it across the line, and he's just mustering the troops, telling them to play wide. It's been a great leaders game. He hasn't had a great personal effect, but the things that he's done have been important.
261 games and 10 state games. You'd expect that experience to be on show.
Well, along with Craig Barham, he's the only player, those two are the only players left from the 1984 Grand Final winning side. They beat Port Adelaide in that match. They came from 5th. Could they come from 4th this year?
The only players left have every good right to show their age. Neil Craig showing a bit also as he looks on, but he'd be pretty happy with this. They'll get a crack at the loser of this afternoon's second semi-final.
Now, could we be seeing the last game for David Marshall? That's an important question that needs to be posed. He's been a terrific champion.
Coerced out of retirement at the start of this year. There it is. It's all over. The Redlegs' arms punch the air and the Tigers' heads hang low. The Redlegs have done it. They're into the preliminary final by 10 points. Good and big winners over Glenelg. 9-15 to 9-5. What an exciting game it's been. Neil Craig, well...
So Norwood set it up in the first term when they kicked 3 goals, 4 into this very strong breeze. Glenelg came back kicking 4 goals, 3 in the second term. It was only 13 points in it at half-time. Glenelg looked in pretty good shape when they led by 13 points, but it was an outstanding third quarter by Norwood. They led by 5 points at three-quarter time, and they were coming home with the breeze. The final score, 9 goals, 15, 69 to 9-5, 59, the margin 10 points.
And David suggesting that first term did all the damage. Chris Prime had Norwood's entire score. He finished with 4. The rest of them were single goal scorers, and for Glenelg, Fidge was well held to 3 by Jonathan Toombs.
Well, the Redlegs were pretty happy today. They continue on to the preliminary final. All Redlegs were happy, and Nipper Christie caught up with one of the most happy.
Well, Michael, the Redlegs into the preliminary final. That win here in the first semi-final would have to rate perhaps as one of their best performances of the year.
That's right, Nipper. We're in a similar position that we were last week. A couple of goals down at half-time. Our third quarter was good again. Our first quarter was good again, but the guys alleged to have been told that their hierarchy or one of their top brasses said that Norwood are a soft side and they'd rather play Norwood in the first semi-final. And we bounced back and showed them that we're far from soft.
Well, I thought that first quarter was going to be perhaps the pattern of the play, particularly kicking with the or kicking into the breeze, and Glenelg did a similar thing in the first term, but Norwood set the pattern, didn't they?
Well, they did. In the first 15 minutes, they played exceptionally well, and I don't know if the wind was going to the south or the north. I think it was going across the ground, not being out there. But it was that first 15 minutes where we really attacked the ball that set it up for us.
The third term, Mike, seemed to me as though Norwood came out and used handball continually out of defence, which really kept you in the game, didn't it?
It did. Our third quarter has been our best quarter for the whole year, and similar again to last week. We 2 goals down, as I said, and we really struggled. We came out at half-time and put in another good quarter, and we went in about 1 point down at three-quarter time. We just slogged it out.
A low-scoring first semi-final. Chris Prime's goals early in that first quarter and finished with 4. It was a good effort from the big fellow.
Yeah, it was. It was difficult because the wind was a lot stronger early, and kicking into the wind was very hard. So